So let's see what is the information given in this question. A sum of money invested for a certain number of years at 8% simple interest grows to rupees 180. The same sum of money invested for same number of years at 4% simple interest grows to only rupees 120. For how many years was the sum invested? So what is the sum? We don't know. Be careful, it is written here 4% simple interest grows to. What does this mean? Money growing to? Growing to means total amount, not only the interest. If I say that my money grew to double, that means I am talking about the total amount. So let the original amount be equal to P. So what is the question trying to say is that for some years, let's say for T years, this amount P, which we have no idea what P is, this was deposited at 8% simple interest. And we saw that it grew up to rupees 180. Growing means total amount. So you can say that I deposited P, and in T years, bank was giving me interest at 8% per annum. So T times into 8% of P. Fine. So you can see this is what you have deposited, this is what bank is giving back to you. So 100% you deposited plus 80% bank is giving to you of P. So you can say 100% plus 80%, 100 plus, or you can write it in a single step here. So this is what you deposited in the bank, 100%. This is you have deposited. Bank is giving 8% each year. So bank has done this for T years because we have assumed the time period to be equal to T years. So total money accumulated in your account will be equal to 100 plus 80% of P. So this is given to be equal to 180. Similarly, it is said that had the money been invested at 4% simple interest for the same time, that means instead of 8%, if the bank was giving you only 4% per year and the time was same, T years, then you would have got back only rupees 120. So from here you can say that 100 plus 40% of P is equal to 120. So we have to find for how many years was the sum invested. We have to find the value of T. How? Divide both sides, both these equations. So this P and P will cancel, percentage cancels. So from here 100 plus 8T divided by 100 plus 4T is equal to 180 by 120. So 180 by 120 can be further simplified as 3 by 2. So from here you cross multiply. So 200 plus 16T is equal to 300 plus 12T. So fine. So from here you can see that 4T is equal to 100, which means T is equal to 100 by 4 or 25 years. So 25 years is the correct answer. So let's see next one. Rima took a loan of rupees 1200 with simple interest for as many years as the rate of interest. If she paid rupees 432 as interest at the end of loan period, what was the rate of interest? What is meant by this question? So she took a loan of 12%, because of which she requires to pay certain interest to bank. So let's suppose rate was equal to R%. Now it is said that for as many years as rate of interest, that means the time for which she have taken the loan is equal to R years only, numerically equal. So she actually paid back, she pays back how much extra? This extra is the interest. So this she has taken back, this she is definitely going to pay back, but additional R% she is paying. Each year she is paying R% as interest to bank. For how many years? For R years. So you can say that R multiplied by R% of 1200, because each year she is paying R% of 1200, she has paid the loan back for R years. So this is the total interest, additional amount she is going to pay back to bank, and this is given to be equal to 432. So let's solve this. So R into R%, so R by 100 into 1200 is equal to 432. So based on this we have to find out the value of R, rate of interest. So these two zeros cancel. So R square is equal to 432 divided by 12. So how much that is? This is equal to 36. So R square is equal to 36, which means R is equal to root 36. Comes out to be equal to 6. So the rate of interest was 6. A person borrows rupees 5,000 for 2 years at 4% simple interest. So he has borrowed rupees 5,000 for 2 years at 4%. He immediately lends it to, he took it from bank, and instead of keeping the money with him, he lends it to someone else at 6.1/4%. So the same money now he lends at 6.25%. 6.25% for 2 years. So this again he has done it for 2 years. Find his gain in transaction per year. So what is he gaining per year? So per year he is paying 4% to bank, but he is getting 6.25% from his customer. So additional that he is making, so he makes a profit of 6.25 minus 4% of principal amount per year. So he borrowed P, customer is giving him 6.25% of this much, but he has to pay back to bank only 4%. So this extra 2.25% is what he is earning per year. This 2 year is given to confuse you, because ultimately you have to calculate gain per year. So think only in terms of a single year. So he borrowed P, he has to return back 4%, but he is getting 6.25% from market. So additional 2.25% that he gets is his profit. So what is his profit per year? So answer is 2.25% of principal amount of 5,000. So let's solve this. So 2.25 divided by 100 into this much. So if you want to remove this decimal, you will have to add 2 more zeros. So 3 zeros cancel. So 5 2s are. So 225 by 2, 112.50. Let's move to the next one. A rents rupees 5,000 to B for 2 years and rupees 3000 to C for 4 years. So there is a guy A. What is he doing? He lends rupees 5000 for 2 years and rupees 3000 for 4 years. 4 years on simple interest at the same rate. That means in both these cases rate is the same. So let rate be R%. Here also the rate is R%, same. And received rupees 2200 in all from both of them as interest. So in total the interest he manages to earn is this much. So what is the rate of interest per annum? So let's solve this. So in interest earned from this person is, this is principal amount, R% of this much for 2 years. So this is the principal generated from first person. What is the, interest generated from first person. What will be the interest generated from second person? Same way, 3000. So R% of 3000. So R by 100 into 3000 for 4 years. So into 4. So this is the total interest he has earned, and this is given to be equal to 2200. So you can see, you can take R by 100 as common and also 1000 as, or better still, you can cancel things out. So 50 into 200 R plus 30 into 4, 120 R is equal to 2200. So from here you can see that 220 R is equal to 2200. So it is clear that R is equal to 2200 by 220, comes out to be equal to 10%. So 10% is the final answer. So let's see, at what rate % per annum will a sum of money double in 8 years? At what rate % per annum will a sum of money double in 8 years? So this being a case of simple interest. So it means if you deposit P, that means you give 100% to the bank, you expect that the bank returns you double the amount. So you give bank P and the bank gives you back 2P. This is what the doubling is. So you deposited 100%, whereas the bank has given you back 200%. So this additional 100%, so this additional 100% got deposited in your bank for 8 continuous years. So you can say that if rate per year is R%, so in 8 years you got this many percentages as interest, and that is equal to 100. So from here R is equal to 100 by 8. So 100 by 8 is what? 12.5. 12.5%. The difference between the simple interests received from two different sources on rupees 1500, that means rupees 1500 was deposited in two different sources for 3 years. So time is 3 years in both the cases. In both the cases time is 3 years, but there is a difference of 11.35. That means suppose here the interest earned is I. So here the total interest earned is 13.50 more. It means this is the case of higher rate. Here you are getting more rate of interest. So we have to find the difference between the rate of interest. Difference between their rates of interest. Let's see an easiest way how you can solve this. So let's See that? You just look at the additional gain, and this has happened in 3 years, not in a single year. So please remember all the key facts as per the given data. The data is for 3 years. 3 years. So additional gain. See, you deposit 1500 in two different schemes. One scheme is giving you R%. The other scheme is giving you R% plus something extra, additional. That's why in second case you have managed to earn more interest, additional interest. So let the interests be R% and R plus A%. So this additional, this is what will create the difference. You are going to get A% extra. So this is the difference. If somebody will ask you what is the difference in interest in both the cases, you will say A% is the difference. So this A% is additional that you are going to get. A% of 1500. This was extra that you are getting. When you got it for 3 years, it became 13.50. So now you can easily find out the value of A. So let's do that. So A by 100 into 1500 into 3 is equal to 13.50. I am removing this decimal, 1350 by 100. So this 100 and this 100 can be cancelled out. So now A is equal to 1350 divided by 1500 into 3. So 135 and 150. So both are multiples of 15. So 9, 10. 3 and 9 are also cancelled. So 3 by 10. So A is equal to 3 by 10, which is equal to 0.3%. Additional. Now this one, if rupees 460 amounts to rupees 640 in 6 years, what will it amount to in 2 years at the same rate? So it means you deposited rupees 460 in the bank and in 6 years. So 6 years means 6 installments. So 6 installments of interest. Each year you are getting same interest. So this is how 460 rupees became 640 rupees. So what is the interest that you are getting per year? You can easily find out what is the interest that you are getting per year. So let's see. So 6i is equal to how much? If you take this side 180, I is equal to 30. So you are getting an interest of 30 rupees per year. Per year you are getting this much. So question is, what will it amount to in 2 years? So instead of waiting for 6 years, in 2 years what would it have become? So 460 plus 2 installments of interest. So 460 plus 30 plus 30. So this is how much? 520. Let's move to next one. A certain sum of money amounts to rupees 1008 in 2 years and to rupees 1164 in 3.5 years. Find the sum and rate of interest. Please understand. You deposit a money P, that means you deposit 100% in 2 years. In 2 years, it amounts to 1008. So fine. So P plus 2 years of interest. So 2i is equal to this much. And in 3.5 years, that means P plus 3.5 years of interest is equal to 1164. We have to find sum and rate of interest, certain sum. That means we have to find P and we have also to find rate of interest. So let's see. Solving these two equations, this simultaneous equation, we can easily find out the value of P. How? Subtract the first equation from the second one. So subtracting 1 from 2, we get 3.5 I minus 2. So this P and this P are going to get cancelled. So 1.5 times of annual interest is equal to how much? So 156. If you subtract 1164 from, if you subtract 1008 from 1164, it comes out to be this much. So 1.5 years of interest is equal to this much. So I, or interest earned per year, will be equal to what? 156 divided by 1.5. So if you remove this, so both are multiples of 15 and 60. So this is 104. So interest earned per year is 104. So now what is sum? Sum, or what is principal? So we know that P plus 2I is equal to 1008. Now we know that I is equal to 104. So we substitute that here. So P plus 2 into 104 is equal to 1008. So let's see. So P is equal to 1008 minus 2 into 104 is how much? 208. So this comes out to be equal to 800. So the sum, or the original amount, certain sum of money. So this sum of money is 800. What is rate? Now you see, bank is paying you 104 as interest when you have deposited 800 in the bank. So what is rate? Rate is equal to what percent? So you have to ask 104 is what percent of 800? So 104 by 800 into 100. So these two zeros cancel. Both these are multiples of 4. So 26 by 2 comes out to be equal to 13%. So money, sum 800, rate 13%. So this is the correct answer. Let's move to next one. A sum of money at simple interest amounts to rupees 815 in 3 years and to rupees 854 in 4 years. So principal plus 3 years of interest is equal to 815, whereas principal amount plus 4 years of interest is equal to 854, because it is written amounts to. So we are talking about the total amount. That's why principal plus interest. So let me call this as 2. So subtracting 1 from 2, first equation from the second equation, what do we get? 4i minus 3i, because this p and this p are going to cancel each other out. Subtraction. So from here you can say that I is equal to how much? 39. 854 minus 815, that is equal to 39. So it means each year the interest generated is 39. So now let's find out the value of P. So we know that P plus 3I is equal to 815. So substitute the value of I here. So P plus 3 into 39 is equal to 815. So P plus 39 into 3 is how much? So that is equal to 117 is equal to 815. So from here P is equal to 815 minus 117. So that comes out to be equal to 698. So this is the final answer. So let's see this one. This is a very good question, so I would insist that you first give it a try on your own. So let's see. A father left a will of rupees 35 lakhs between his two daughters, aged 8.5 and 16, such that they may get equal amount when each of them reach the age of 21 years. The original amount of rupees 35 lakhs have been instructed to be invested at 10% simple interest. How much did the older daughter get at the time of the will? So please understand what is the concept given in the question. So a person had a total amount of 35 lakhs with him. So what he did, he had two daughters. So let's name them A and B. A is the elder daughter, B is the younger daughter. So A's age was 16 years. So she is 16 years old, whereas B is only 8.5 years old. So what he did, he gave some money to A. Let's suppose he gave X to A, X lakhs to A. So the remaining money, that means 35 minus X lakhs, he gave it to B. And he told them that you deposit this money in the bank and the bank will return you money when you become 21 years old. So she will become 21 years old after 5 years. So basically the father told the elder daughter that you are already 16 years old. So you need to keep this money in bank for another 5 years so that you can withdraw the money when you are 21 years old. So your money, this X, have to be kept in bank for 5 years. Rate is 10%. Similarly, whatever this daughter has got, so if the elder daughter has got X, the younger daughter have got the remaining money 35 minus X. But the thing is, she is only 8.5 years old now. So she is going to take how many years before she attains the age of 21? So how many more years before she attains the age of 21? So that is equal to 12.5 years. 12.5 years. So she needs to deposit the money in the bank for these many years, 12.5 years. Rate is same for both these sisters. So what was the purpose behind doing this? Why was the father doing this? Because he wanted that each of them must get equal money. So that they may get equal amount. So the idea or the purpose was that on their 21st birthday, they both get same money. So that was the purpose. So now let's see. Let's put these values mathematically for elder daughter and younger daughter. So money X. So the remaining money given to the younger daughter, 35 minus X. Rate, for both the rate is 10% only. Number of years, she is already 16 years old, whereas the younger one is only 8.5 years old. So for how many years the elder daughter will keep her money invested? So she will keep her money invested for only 5 years, whereas the younger one will keep the money invested for 12.5 years. So let's see how much amount is she going to get. She already has X with her. So in total interest earned is 10 into 5, 50%. So 150% of X. See carefully. Rate is 10% per annum. She has kept her money for 5 years. So whatever she deposited, she got 50% more, 10 into 5. So 100% she has deposited plus additional 50% she is getting. Why 50%? 10 into 5. So you can say that on her 21st birthday, she got back total 150% of X. From where this 50% is coming? 10% per annum, and the money was deposited for 5 years. So 10 into 5. So bank has given this much from his bank's own, coffer, bank's own pocket. Similarly, if you apply the mathematics to the younger daughter, she already have 35 minus X. This is what she deposited, 100%, plus 10% for 12.5 years. That means an additional 125%. So you can say 150% of X should be equal to 225% of 35 minus X. So equating this, so 150 and 225, they are cancelable. So you can say that 152, and this is 3 times. 150 and 225 both are multiples of 75. So effectively speaking, 2 into X, 2X is equal to 2X, because percentage will also cancel. Percentage is also, it's like dividing by 100. So both sides dividing by 100. So why to write all those things? Why not simply cancel? So you can say 2X is equal to 3 into 35 minus X. So if you solve this, I'm taking this here. 2X is equal to 35 into 3 is how much? 105 minus 3X. So from here you can see, if you bring this 3X this side, 5X is equal to 105. So X is equal to 105 by 5, that is equal to 21. 21. So the elder daughter got 21 lakhs. Because the value of X came out to be equal to 21, the younger daughter got the remaining money, 35 minus 21, that is equal to 14 lakhs. What is the question? How much did the elder daughter get? So elder daughter we have assumed to be X. So X came out to be equal to 21 lakhs. So the final answer is 21 lakhs. Let's see this question. This again is a very good question. So if you want, you can try on your own first. So anyways, let's see. A sum of rupees 725 is lent in the beginning of a year at a certain rate of interest. So rupees 725 was lent at certain rate of interest. So let the rate be equal to R%. After 8 months, a sum of rupees this much, 362.50. So another amount, 362.50 is lent, but at the rate twice the former. So in second case, the rate is double. So if this is R, the rate in second case is double, 2R. At the end of the year, please understand, this amount was lent at the beginning of the year. So this money was deposited for entire 12 months, 1 year. Whereas this amount was deposited after 8 months, and you are calculating interest at the end of the year. So this money was deposited only for 4 months, from 9 months to 12 months. So only for 4 months, which is equal to 1/3 of a year. 1/3 of a year. So this is the scenario. The total interest that you have earned is 33.50. So total interest earned is 33.50. So let's put this mathematically. So in 1 year, interest earned from here is how much? So R% of 725 is the interest you are going to earn from here. How much interest you are going to earn from here? So in second case, the amount has been deposited for only 1/3 of the time. So 1/3 of the interest for entire year. Interest for entire year is 2R% of 362.50. So this is the interest for entire year. But the thing is, money was deposited only for 1/3 of the year. So this is the total interest that this guy is going to earn, and this is given to be equal to 33.50. So let's put this mathematically. So R percent of 725 plus 1/3 of, in entire year he would have earned 2R percent of how much? 362.50. 362.50. Okay, see a coincidence. I mean, it's not a coincidence. This has been done on purpose. So 725 is double of this. Double. That's why they have chosen these numbers. So anyways, let's see. So this has been said to be equal to 33.50. So this is equal to 33.50. So let's solve this. So R percent, R by 100 into 725 plus 2R percent. So 2R by 100. So if 100 comes down, it becomes 300. So 2R by 300 into 362.50. So this is equal to 33.50. So a few things can be taken common. So you can take R by 100 as common. R by 100 you can take common. So R by 100 if you take as common, this is 725 plus, if you multiply with 2 it will become 725 only, plus 725 by 3. This is equal to 33.50. What is the question? Rate. So we have to calculate R. So let's do that. So R, this 100 if you take this side, so R into 725 into 4 by 3. So this is 1 by 3. So 4 by 3 times of 725. So this is equal to 3350. Why? Because this 100 goes to the other side, multiplies, that's why this decimal is gone. So let's see. So will this 3 cancel this 725 out? So it doesn't. So anyways, so R is equal to 3350 into 3 divided by 725 into 4. So I think both these are multiples of 25. So there is chance that they will cancel out. So let's see. I'm trying to cancel these two numbers by 25. Okay, anyways, if you calculate this, this comes out to be equal to 3.46%. Fine. Now let's move to the next pattern of questions. So next pattern of questions is based on the funda of borrowing or lending money from, or means more than one sources. So for example, if you have certain amount of money, instead of lending the money to a single person, you lend it to two persons. So basically, amount will be given and you are lending it to two different people. Why different people? Because the rate is different. Rate R1% and R2%. So this is the case of dividing money into two parts and lending it or borrowing it at different rates from different sources. So let's see what kind of questions we are going to encounter. What is the funda, what is the maths behind these pattern of questions. So let's see. So let's see what is the concept behind this pattern of questions. So it says that if two different sums of money in the ratio m:n is borrowed or lent at R1% and R2% rate respectively, then the effective rate of interest is given by m into R1 plus n into R2 by m plus 1. So this is basically weighted average. So weighted average, we will see what this means. So let's take an example. Let's suppose that two different sums of money, let's say 2000 and 6000. So two different sums of money. Fine. So this was lent at, let's suppose, 8%. This was lent at rate 8%, whereas this money was lent at, let's say, 20%. Fine. So the concept is, what is the effective rate of interest? So it will be somewhere between 8% and 20%. So answer, so we are trying to find what is the overall rate of interest. So overall, to find the overall rate of interest, you have to first take the ratio of these two amounts. First let us use the traditional method, then you will understand that why this method works. So let's see, what is the total amount? So total amount is equal to 2000 plus 6000. This is the total amount. What is the total interest? Total interest that you are going to earn. So 8% of 2000, 8% multiplied by 2000 plus 20% multiplied by 6000. So this is the total interest you would earn when you have the total sum as 2000 plus 6000. So what is the effective rate? Effective rate. So that is total interest earned upon total amount into 100. So effective rate can be calculated this way: 8% into 2000 plus 20% into 6000 divided by total money. Total money is 2000 plus 6000 into 100. So this is how you would calculate what is effective rate. So this percentage means dividing by 100. So this percentage, if you take as common, if you take this percentage out as common, this percentage and this 100 will cancel each other out, because percentage basically means dividing by 100. So if you take percentage as common, it becomes 1 by 100. So if you see properly, so you can see that 2000 and 6000 have something common in them. So if you take the common value out, 2000 out, so this will become 2000 into 8 into 1 plus 20 into 3. Similarly, 2000 can be taken common in the denominator as well. So 2000 taken common here. So 1 into 3. So you see this 2000 and 2000 gets cancelled. So the answer actually depends on these numbers: 1, 3, 8, 20. So what is 1 and 3? It is basically the ratio of these numbers, 1 is to 3. So the answer does not depend on 2000. It does not depend on 6000 either. It basically depends on their ratio, because all the other figures are going to get cancelled eventually. So effective rate of percentage can be found out using the method of weighted average. So let's take another example. So next time if you see such a question that 5000 and 8000, so this money is lent at, let's say, 12%, and this is lent at 25%. So what is the effective rate of interest? So simply take the ratio of these numbers, 5000 and 8000. The actual amount is not important, their ratio is important. So the ratio of amount, 5 is to 8. What is the effective rate? So the corresponding rate is, for 5000 it is 12%, and for 8000 it was 25%. So to find effective rate is given by weighted average. So 12 into 5 plus 25 into 8. 25 into 8 whole divided by 5 plus 8. So let's see how much this comes to be. So 12 into 5, 60 plus 25 into 8, 200 divided by 8 plus 5, 13. So 260 divided by 13, 20%. So somewhere between 12% and 25%. Answer comes out to be 20%. So from here you have another way of thinking. Please understand what we have just solved. What we have just solved will give you an insight into another approach to this problem. So you had lent two amounts. Those two amounts were in the ratio 5:8. So this was lent at a rate of 12% and this was lent at a rate of 25%. So which amount is greater? So this amount is greater. So the final answer will be more closer to this. It will be more closer to 25 as compared to 12. Because here in this case more amount has been given. So answer is going to be nearer to this. Fine. So nearer to this means what? The greater the value, the more it is going to pull it towards itself. So you can say this is 12%, this is 25%. Let the final answer be X%. So I am saying that X is more closer to 25 as compared to 12. It is more closer. So this gap will be in the reverse ratio. So the ratio of this gap, let this gap be D1, this gap be D2. So this ratio is 8:5. So another way in which you could have solved this is somewhat like this. Let's see. So another way of getting to the same answer could have been that first you understand what this total gap is. So this total gap is of 13 units. Now you have to divide this 13 unit into two gaps which are in reverse ratio, 8:5. So 13 units, 8 parts this, 5 parts this. So 1 unit is equal to 1%. So let the final answer be X%. So I mean to say that this X is 8 steps away from 12 and only 5 steps behind 25. Fine. So this is another way of thinking. If you don't want to solve it, you can visualize it. So let's take a few examples to make things clear. A man borrowed rupees 24,000 from two money lenders. For one loan he paid 15% and for the other one he paid 18%. So at the end of 1 year he paid this much. So how much did he borrow? So he is borrowing from two different sources. One 15%, the other 18%. We have to find how much did he borrow at 18% rate. So let us see what is the effective rate percent that he is giving effectively. So he borrowed 24,000 and he is paying back 4050 as interest. So let us see 4050 is what percentage of 2400. So let's see this first. So 4050 is what percentage of, it's 24,000. So let's see this. 2 zeros cancelled here, 1 zero cancels here. So 405 by 24. Still they are cancelable by 3. Both are multiples of 3. So this 8 times. So 135 times. So 135 by 8. So 135 by 8%, which is equal to 1. So this comes out to be 16.875. So final answer came out to be 16.875%. So this is very clear that answer is more closer to 18%. More closer to 18%. It means more money was, more money was deposited in this scheme as compared to this scheme, but we are more interested in the actual value. So now see, how can you calculate the actual value? So you have calculated the effective rate of interest, which came out to be 16.875. Now you can also use the concept of allegation here. Concept of allegation. It means you can actually determine in what ratio how much of this and how much of this was deposited, in what ratio, by taking the difference. So you can see it is more closer to 18. So what is this gap? So this gap is of 1.125. so this basically determines the ratio. And what is this gap between 15 and 16.875? so this is a gap of 1.875. so you can take the ratio of these two. You will get the ratio of the original amount, in the ratio in which the original amount was distributed. So 1.125 and 1.875, if you take the ratio, this comes out to be 9 is to, so 8, 7, 15. So 9 is to 15. So now it means that 2,400 or 24,000 was divided in this ratio. So how much did he borrow at 18% rate? So if you will solve, how much did he borrow at 18% rate? So 15 parts out of a total of 9 plus 15 parts of 24,000. So 15 by 24. So this will cancel 1,000. So 15,000 is the correct answer. So you have to use the concept. You can either use the formula or you can use the allegation method. Let's suppose some of you may not be comfortable with this method, allegation method. So how you could have done this in traditional method? So now let's see the traditional method as well. So let's suppose that the two portions are x and 24,000 minus x, traditional method. And then you will realize that why do we need shortcuts. So 24,000 x, that means the other amount must have been, the remaining amount must have been 24,000 minus x. So this was given at a rate of 15%. So 15%. And this one at 18%. So in 1 year you earned 15% of x and 18% of the remaining amount. 18 by 100 into 24000 minus x. So this must be equal to 4050. So you can see that this gets into a lengthier calculation. So to avoid these kind of calculations, you can use logical methods. So anyways, let's solve this. If you have come up till here, then why not solve this? So if you will solve this, the answer comes to be same. X comes out to be 9,000. Same answer. But this is a lengthier approach. It requires, lengthy calculations. Let's see the next one. Altaf borrows rupees 1,500 from two money lenders. He pays interest at the rate of 12% per annum for one loan and at the rate of 14% from other. So two different sources, one at 12%, the other at 14%. How much has he borrowed? He has borrowed 1,500. How much interest he is paying back? He is paying back this much interest, 186 he is paying back as interest. So first you find out that 186 is what percent of 1,500? What is the effective rate of payment? Effective rate. So effectively he borrowed 1,500 and he is paying back 186. So effective rate, so 186 is what percentage of 1,500? So both these are cancelable by 3. So 62, 5. So this basically comes out to be 12.4. 12.4. So effective rate of interest came out to be 12.4%. So now you can simply take the ratio. So 12 is how much away from 12.4? So 12 and 12.4. This difference is 0.4. 14 is how much away from 12.4? So 1.6 away. So this indicates the ratio in which the amounts were borrowed. So what is this ratio? 1.6 is to 0.4. The ratio is 4 is to 1. It means this 1500 rupees was borrowed from two different sources in this ratio 4 is to 1. Now the question is, how much did he borrow at 12%? So how much did he borrow at 12%? So this is corresponding to 12%. So he borrowed 4 parts out of 5 parts of 1500. So 4 by 5 into 1500 comes. So this comes out to be equal to 1200. So first try to find the effective rate and then use this ratio method. Fine. So let's move to the next one. Now let's see this one. Rupees 1500 is divided into two parts such that if one part is invested at 6% and the other is invested at 5%, the whole annual interest is rupees 85. So what this guy has done, he had 1500 rupees with him. So he deposited in two different sources. Effectively he is getting back 85 rupees. So by lending out 1500 rupees, he is getting back total of 85 rupees. So what is effective rate? Effective rate. So 85 is what percentage of 1500? So this is the effective rate he is getting back. So 85 by 15, both are cancelable by 5. So 17 by 3. So 17 by 3 is equal to 5.66. 5.66. So you can find out the ratio in which these amounts were lent. What is the difference between 6 and 5.66? 0.33. What is the difference between 5 and 5.66? It is 0.66. So what is the ratio of these two numbers? 2 is to 1. So now it is clear in what ratio 1500 was lent out. So 1500 was lent out in the ratio 2 is to 1. Question is, how much was lent at 5%? So 5%, this figure, this part. So this. So 1500 distributed in the ratio 2 is to 1. So this is the final answer. So one part out of 2 plus 1, 3 parts of 1500. So this comes out to be equal to rupees 500. So let's see the next one. Rupees 1550 was lent partly at 8% per annum simple interest. That means some part of it was lent at 8%, the remaining was lent at 5%, and the total interest received after 3 years. So in 3 years, the interest generated is rupees 300. Therefore, what is the interest generated per year? Please remember, this is the interest generated in 3 years. So what is interest per year? Rupees 100. So now 1550 is the original amount, is the total amount. It was lent in two parts. First part is fetching you a profit at the rate of 8%. The other part is fetching profit at the rate 5%. Suppose you have lent entire money at this rate. So how much you have earned? Now so you are earning 100, but suppose you would have lent this entire money at 8%. So what is 8% of 15 point? So 1550. 8% of 1550. So 8 by 100 into 1550. So how much this comes out to be? So 4 by 5. So 31 times. So 31 into 4. 124. So had you deposited all the money in this scheme, you would have earned rupees 124 as interest. In case had you deposited all your money in this scheme, how much you would have earned? 5% of 15, 50. So 20 times. So this cancels. So 155 by 2. So 155 by 2 is equal to 77.5. So if these are two extreme cases, had you deposited all the money in this scheme, you would have earned this much. Had you deposited all the money in this scheme, you would have earned this much. But in reality, you have earned rupees 100. So a figure somewhere in between. Now apply the same funda. Take the difference in reverse order. You will get the ratio. So this is 24. This is 22.5. So what is the ratio? You double this. This is 45 and you double this. This is 48. So the final ratio is, the ratio of money is 48 is to 45 because the ratio of 5 is to 8 is asked. But we have solved it in reverse manner. 8 is to 5. So the final answer will be 48 is to 45. If you simplify this further, this comes out to be 16 is to 15. So now let's see this one. Some amount is lent at 6% annum 6% per annum simple interest. After 1 year, rupees 6,800 is repaid and the rest of the amount is repaid at 5% per annum. If the second year's interest is 11 by 20 of the first year's interest, find what amount of money was lent out. Very good question. I would suggest you pause this video, give it a try before looking at the solution. So please do that. So let's see. Some amount is lent at 6% per annum. So let's assume the amount to be P. So the rate is 6% and simple interest. So after 1 year, rupees 6,800 is repaid. So after 1 year, what was the amount due? So this was the original amount that you deposited. Now you have to pay 6% as interest as well. So the final amount that you would be paying would be 106% of P. So after 1 year, so after a year, what was the total amount due? 106% of P. So that is 1.06 P. So this was the amount due after 1 year. But you could not pay full amount. So you paid only 6,800. This was the, had you paid this much, the loan would have been over. But you could not repay the total amount. So you paid only 6,800. So you can say balance amount, balance loan was equal to how much? 1.06 P minus 6,800. So this is the balance loan. So in the next year, you have to pay interest at the rate of 5% only. You have to pay interest only of 5%. Fine. So interest paid for first year is equal to how much? 0.6 P, 0.06 P rather, interest paid for the first year, because P you have borrowed but you are giving him back. You were supposed to give him back 1.06 P. So interest paid for, to be paid for second year, to be paid for second year is, it has to be paid at the rate of 5%. So 5% of balance amount. So balance amount is this much. So now what is said? It is said that if the second year interest is 11 by 20 of the first year interest. So first year interest is 0.6p, or you can say 6 by 100 into p. This is the interest of first year. So second year's interest is 11 by 20. So if you multiply this by 11 by 20, you get the interest for second year. What is the interest for second year? This is the interest for second year. 5%. That means 5 by 100 multiplied by 1.06p minus 6800. So let's see. So 100 and 100 will get cancelled. Anything else that can get cancelled? Let's see. Let's take it to next page. So 6p into 11, that means 66p by 20. 66p divided by 20 is equal to how much? 5 multiplied by this is equal to 5 into 1.06p minus 6800. So let's see. 66 and 20, they can still be cancelled. Both are multiples of 2. So 33 by 10 into p is equal to 5 into 1.06. So 5.3p. So 6800 into 5. So that is equal to 34,000. So this is 3.3p is equal to 5.3p minus 34,000. So if you will solve, you bring this to this side and you take 34,000 to the other side. 34,000 is equal to 2p. So from here it is clear that p is equal to 17,000. So let's see if 17,000 is an option. Okay, this one. So yeah, 17,000. Next one. Mohan borrowed 10,000 rupees from Sohan. Sohan charges a simple interest of 10%. So Mohan returned 4,000 rupees after 1 year, which included the interest for first year. He returned the remaining amount after 2 more years. What is the interest that Mohan ended up paying? Please understand what the question is. So Mohan borrowed 10,000 rupees from Sohan, and Sohan is charging an interest of 10%. So after 1 year, what is the total amount due? Total amount due. Total amount due means if you repay this, the loan is over. The chapter is closed. So Sohan is asking an interest of 10%. So amount due is equal to 10,000 plus 10% of 10,000. That is equal to 11,000. This is the amount due. That means at the end of 1 year, if you pay this amount, the loan will be over. But he could not pay the entire amount. He paid only 4,000 rupees. So you can say the balance amount. Balance loan. Not amount, you can say loan. So balance loan is equal to, see, you could have cleared the loan by paying 11,000, but you could pay only 4,000. So balance loan 11,000 minus 4,000. So that is equal to 7,000. So this is the balance loan. So he could pay after 2 more years. So you mean to say that this 7,000 rupees, he managed to pay the entire amount after 2 years. That means in those 2 years also he was paying interest. So he was paying interest at the rate of 10%. So 10%, that means 700. So as an interest, he would have further paid this much as interest, because we have to calculate what is the interest that Mohan ended up paying. So this is the total amount Mohan paid, 7,000 plus 700 interest for the first year, 700 as the interest for the second year, and 4,000 he have already paid. 4,000 he has already paid. So total amount paid by him is equal to what? 4,000 plus 7,000 plus these two installments of interest, because he have kept the loan for another 2 years. So this is equal to 12,400. So how much he has borrowed? He borrowed 10,000, but he paid back 12,400. So extra money or interest. So extra money paid is what is technically known as interest, total interest. So that is equal to 12,400 minus 10,000. This comes out to be equal to 2,400. So 2,400 is the final answer. Now let's see this question. A person takes a loan of rupees 200 at 5% simple interest. He returns rupees 100 at the end of 1 year. In order to clear his dues at the end of 2 years, how much should he pay? So this is the case of simple interest. Let's see amount due after 1 year. What was the amount due at the end of 1 year? He had borrowed 200. So this is the original money, plus in that 1 year 5% would have been added as interest. So 5% of 200. What is 5% of 200? So 10. So 210 was the total amount due at the end of first year. So if you pay 210 rupees now, the loan would be over. The loan chapter would be closed. But he could pay only rupees 100. So you can say balance loan. Balance loan was how much? So had he paid this much, the chapter would have been closed, but he could pay only rupees 100. So the still a loan of 110 was on his, you can say he was facing a loan of rupees 110. So in order to clear his dues at the end of 2 years, he would pay how much? So 1 year is already passed. Now 1 more year remains. So now effectively speaking, he has a loan of rupees 110. So this loan he is going to repay the next year. So next year, that means another 5% of interest would be charged. So this he have to pay plus an additional 5% of this much. So 5% of 110 is equal to 5.5. How I am easily able to calculate 5% of 110? See, 10% of anything is 1/10. So 10% of 110 is 11. So 5% is half of 10%. So half of 11, 5.5. So total money that he needs to pay at the end of second year, so that all the loan is cleared in one instance, in just one single payment, that is equal to 110 plus 5.5. So this comes out to be 115.5. Let's move to the next one. An automobile financer claims to be lending money at simple interest, but he includes the interest every 6 months for calculating the principal. So what if he is charging an interest of 8%, the effective rate of interest becomes equal to what? See what he is doing, you will understand while we solve it. Let's suppose he have lent rupees 1,000 to somebody or rupees 100 to somebody. So let's suppose he has lent rupees 100 to somebody. So he told that I would be charging. So what is the rate? He tells them that you need to pay me 8%. You need to pay me 8% per annum. But what he is doing, he includes the interest every 6 months for calculating. That means, let's suppose he have lent rupees 100. So after 6 months he will do something. After 6 months he changes the amount. How does he change the amount? He includes the interest also in the principal amount. So the actual money that was lent was rupees 100, but after 6 months, for entire year he would have charged 8%. So after 6 months only 4%, up till 6% only 4% interest is due. So after six months he would have called his customer and he would have told him that 6 months have gone. So up till now the interest that you need to pay to me is 4% of 1000, because 6 months means half of a year. So 8% was for complete year, so 4% for 6 months. So he calls his customer and tells him that now what I will do is that I will change the principal amount. I will add this interest in the amount and then recalculate for the remaining year. So this is what he is doing. So he changes principal amount midway. So he tells his customer that from now on another story is starting. So he tells him that now I am changing the principal from 100 to 4% of 100 is what? 104. So now you have to consider that you owe me rupees 104, which you have to pay me 6 months later, because 6 months have already gone. So now for 6 months another 4%, because for the entire year 8%. So he will have to pay 104 plus 4% of this much, plus 4% of 104. So how much this comes out to be? 104 plus 4 by 100 into 104. So let's see, 104 into 4, 416. So 104 plus 4.16. So this comes out to be 108.16. So you can see in 1 year he had given rupees 100, but he is going to get back rupees 108.16. So in 1 year he has gained 8.16 on rupees 100. So effective rate of interest is 8.16. If you will calculate that 8.16 is what percent of 100, you would be wasting your time. It is obviously 8.16%.